Volume 1 of the United States Presidents series takes you through the birth of the American presidency and first 50 years of our government. Imagine how the Founding Fathers struggled to shape their new nation, learning as they went along. Compare how very different the earliest presidents and their lifestyles were from their modern-day counterparts. Humble planters became great leaders, and formal education was not a prerequisite to political achievement. Join us as we journey back more than 200 years to meet the first 9 presidents of the United States of America.
George Washington, our first president, served from 1789 to 1797. George Washington was born on February 22, 1732, in Pope's Creek, Westmoreland County, Virginia, the eldest son of Augustine Washington and his second wife, Mary Ball Washington. His parents were prosperous members of Virginia's gentry whose family estate was situated along the Potomac River in Pope's Creek. Education was a priority in the Washington family, and George's schooling included such subjects as mathematics, surveying, the classics, and the rules of civility. When George was 11 years old, his father died. George went to live with his half-brother Lawrence at his plantation called Mount Vernon. Lawrence, who became a substitute father to young George, had married into a well-known Fairfax family, influential Virginians who later helped launch George's career. When Lawrence died of tuberculosis in 1752, George inherited the Mount Vernon estate and began the life of a planter. As a young man, George's first profession was surveying. In 1748, he obtained his first appointment to survey Lord Fairfax's lands in the Shenandoah Valley. The following year, George helped lay out the Virginia town of Belhaven, now known as Alexandria, Virginia, and was named surveyor of Culpeper County. George Washington's military career was launched just prior to the start of the French and Indian War in 1754. Ambitious and outspoken, he served an adjutant, an aide or assistant, in one of Virginia's 4 military districts. In 1753, before the war broke out, George was assigned a difficult mission by Governor Robert Dinwiddie to travel to Fort Le Boeuf and warn its French commander against further intrusion on British-claimed territory. George kept a diary during the rough and dangerous journey, which was published in Williamsburg, Virginia following his return. The reports in his diary may have helped his subsequent promotion to the rank of lieutenant colonel at the tender age of 22. Though young and relatively inexperienced, Colonel Washington earned the respect of his superiors through his initiative and leadership ability. In 1755, he was promoted to the rank of full colonel and appointed the commander-in-chief of the Virginia militia. Over the next few years, Colonel Washington matured from an eager, opinionated young officer to a seasoned soldier with a clear understanding of administration and how to deal effectively with civil authority. This knowledge was to serve him in good stead later in his military career and throughout his presidency. In 1758, Washington resigned his commission in the Army and returned to Mount Vernon to attend his estate, sorely neglected during his absence. His political career began during this time, when he served in the Virginia's House of Burgesses from 1759 to 1774. It was also during this time that he met and courted Martha Dandridge Custis, a 27-year-old wealthy widow with 2 children. They had become acquainted at the many balls hosted by Williamsburg society, and George liked her petite stature and good-natured sensibility. Martha found George to be attractive and personable, and was pleased by his fondness of her 4-year-old son, Jackie, and 2-year-old daughter, Patsy. Martha and George married on January 6, 1759, and settled their family into his Mount Vernon estate. Though they were to remain childless, George regarded his stepchildren as his own. When Patsy died at age 17 from epilepsy, George was as grief-stricken as Martha. Meanwhile, the political atmosphere in the colonies was becoming disturbed. Great Britain's colonial policies were met by the colonists with great disfavor. Talk of independence abounded. Washington found himself right in the midst of the conflict. Although he, at first, did not